Need motivation?
Watch the Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Iyanla Vanzant, and my take on her top 50 rules for success. Enjoy.
3 things I want you to do to nurture your vision. I want you to affirm it every day. Affirm it every day. And don't affirm it as I'm trying, I wish, I want to. I am. Let me hear you say, I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. Every single day, I am is the creative force of the universe. Whatever you attach I am to, you will become. You know, people say, I'm broke. Or I'm single. No, I'm waiting for my ideal mate to present himself to me in a way that I recognize. Whatever you attach I am to, I'm confused, no. I am awaiting clarity in this moment. So affirm your vision every day. And just because somebody else can't see your vision doesn't mean that it's not a powerful vision for you. Here's another key for you. Never judge your clarity on how other people respond. Did you hear me? They're gonna say, what you doing? You crazy. Why are you doing that? You can't do that. Who told you you could do that? Who do you think you are? I love that one. Who do you think you are? Me? Affirm your vision. Clarify your vision. Know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you're doing it, day by day, moment by moment. And sometimes the how only shows up on a need-to-know basis. Don't wait for the how until you start pursuing your vision. You understand? Don't wait for the how. Sometimes you just have to walk blindly. But if you just do your vision, every single day, putting one foot in front of the other, committed to your desires, being obedient, walking through your fears, the vision will unfold much grander than you could have ever even imagined or asked for. So, this is what I say. To support your vision, instead of begging for it, pleading for it, pray, oh God, please, oh, please, God, please, oh God, please, please, God, please. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. Be still. Let your daily spiritual practice be one of stillness and listening. Listen for the instruction instead of begging for the direction. Listen. Be still. I don't care what it is that you're doing in this world. I know many of you are involved in the government here, and we have so many elected officials and people who are serving the world in so many ways. But if you don't love what you're doing, run for your life. Run for your life. If 3 days out of the 5 you doing your work, you complain more than you bless, run for your life. If you're continually looking at what you don't have and what people aren't doing, as opposed to looking how blessed you are to be in a position to start, run for your life. You got cooties and you need to run for your life. So I have this thing that I've been promoting called No Whining Wednesdays. Wednesday, you cannot whine, complain, or criticize. And people are like, well, what is whining? Whatever you think it is, don't do it. And every time you do it, you have to put a quarter in a jar. If you whine about anything, I can't, I'm tired, why do me, why don't you, why have me? Every one of them will cost you a quarter. Or complaining, why do you always, how come you, I always, they never, cost you a quarter. Then last week, I had people send me pictures of their jars of quarters. Oh my God. But what they said to me also was, this was wonderful, because I was never, ever aware of how much whining and complaining and criticizing I do. Now I've got mothers doing it with their children. So Wednesday is No Whining Wednesday. We need to practice that. We need to stop whining about what isn't happening, what we don't have, what we can't do, what somebody didn't do. We got to get it clean in 2014. No whining, no complaining, no criticizing. Keep it simple. The truth will cut through all the drama, all the misunderstanding, all the hurt, all the pain, all the memories. Keep it simple. I don't care how long you've been with Fifi or Boo Boo. If they leave you, it's not because something's wrong with you. They ain't the one for you. Keep it simple. You got laid off from your job, there's another divine opportunity waiting for you to keep it simple. You lost your house, well, in your father's house there are many mansions. Just hang around long enough. Keep it simple. The path to greatness. Order. Vision. Trust. Faith. A good piece of chocolate. And simplicity.
Also, if you want to have more confidence, self-love, self-belief, check out my 254 series. The science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a habit. So I've designed a special free program to help you get it, where I will send you an unlisted video to your email for the next 254 days to shift your self-belief forward. The link to sign up for free is in the description below.
We need to stop whining about what isn't happening.
So it's not selfish to put yourself first.
No, it's self-full.
It's self-full.
It's self-full to be first, to be as good as possible to you, to take care of you. But if you don't love what you're doing, run for your life. I got something for you. Refuse to fail. Refuse. Just refuse to fail. And if what you're doing looks like it's going to move you towards failure, do something else. Look at me. Refuse to fail. I refuse to fail. Now that may mean that I have to walk barefoot. It may mean I have to sleep in the park. It may mean that I have to ask for help. It may mean that I have to give something up. It may mean that I have to stop. But I refuse to fail. We like to be right. Yeah. It's like being wrong is almost a fatal disease or something. Like we'll die on the spot if we have to say I was wrong. You know? So if we look around and anybody challenges us, we'll give up what we believe. So here is one of the things that I learned on my journey to peace. I don't need your agreement. I'm asking for your support. I don't need your agreement. I'm not going to get people to agree with what you know in here, because they don't know that. They ain't in there. Never judge your clarity based on somebody else's response. When you're clear, you're clear. Hold to your clarity. And if people look like they doubt you, close your eyes. Be authentic. Be authentic. Many people don't even know what that means. It means that you're clear about who you are. You're clear about your purpose, your protocols, and your plans. You're clear about what you're up to, and you speak the truth of that all the time. Be authentic means you're in integrity. That what you think, what you say, what you feel, and what you do all matter. Now, I know that's hard in Washington, because there's just some truths you can't tell out here. But we want to do the best that we can. And when you can't, pray about it. But be authentic. So many of us don't allow people to know who we are. As I travel around this country, I meet people all over the country who are suffering in silence because they're not authentic about what they need, what they want, what they're doing, what they're experiencing. Let's clean up our mouths. How we say what we say and who we say it to. Do you know you can talk yourself into trouble? A lot easier than you can talk yourself out of it. But if you become mindful about what you're speaking, it'll be a lot easier to handle some of the things that come up in your life with speaking. Years and years and years ago, I learned a secret. I used to open my pocketbook, my purse, and I'd get right down over it and I'd say, fill yourself with divine substance right now. Oh, you look at all that abundance just pouring down right out. Ooh! I name everything and I speak to everything. My car got a name. I say, Gracie, how you doing this morning? Come on, we going traveling. My house got a name, Villanova, the big vision. I'm mindful of my mouth because I know that what comes out of my mouth must be created. Everything begins with a word. So we even want to stop speaking about how horrible our children are doing or how bad people are doing or how bad things in. Here's an affirmation. Oh my, I can hardly wait to see the good that's going to come out of this, no matter what it is. As opposed to using our power to continue to affirm what's wrong, what's broke, what ain't working, what's not happening, how horrible it is. Let's speak life into things. Let's speak life into our children. Let's speak life into our families, into our relationships. I can't tell you the number of people who write me and say, I need you to help me with my crazy family. Well, heck, they're your family. I don't even know that kind of crazy you got over there. This is just what I be thinking, and then I bless my head so that thought will go away. But what if we started saying, wow, I know it looks like Boo-Boo, my cousin, is having difficulty right now, but I see a brighter day for you. It's what Emmett Fox called gold keying, where you key something up with the radiant richness of what you want it to be, as opposed to affirming it as it is right now, as it is right now. So we want to clean up our mouths and what we say about each other. Imagine that you have 24 hours a day for how many years? How much of that time do you give just for you? Will you just sit and be present with you, self-care and self-nurturing? Also, being really clear about what it is you want. Talk to yourself about it. Talk to somebody you care about it. Hear your own voice and honor your own feelings and be good to you. Be clear about who you are and what you're up to at any given point in time. Be clear about what matters to you, what you value, what you will do, what you won't do, what you can do, and what you can't do. Be clear. Clarity is a gift, and it grows and develops through practice. Be clear. Be clear about who you are. Many, many years ago, when I first started doing this work, and I was writing, I wrote a little purple book called Acts of Faith. And the book had a life all its own. And I was running all over speaking and talking about acts of faith and stuff and making money on the book, speaking for $50 and $300 and $200. I had to get clear because I had on $500 worth of clothes. It was not profitable. But I had to get clear. And Dennis Kimbrough said this to me right in the halls of the old convention center. He said, Iyanla, be clear about what you are. Are you a writer who speaks or a speaker who writes? Sometimes when we do multiple things, we throw them all together and we practice each and we master none. Be clear about who you are, about what you do, what you're up to, what is your primary cause of action and call to action. You got to be clear. And listening to what Dennis Kimbrough said to me, was I a speaker who writes or a writer who speaks? I said, well, I ain't none of that. That's something that I do, but that's not who I be. Who you be? You've got to get clear about who you be, because being is an internal state. It's not about doing. It's what drives you, what elevates you, what you would do every single day of your life for the rest of your life, whether you got paid or not. That's who you be. What matters to you, that's who you be. What you value, that's who you be. And so many of us are clear about what we have to do, but not clear about who we be as we're doing it. Because some of us want to serve people and we mean it in a wet cat on any given Sunday. Get clear about who you be. You must know who you are. No, I'm not talking about your name or your occupation. I'm not talking about what people say about you on Facebook. I'm not talking about your PIN number. I'm talking about who you are at the core and the essence and the root of your being. Spiritual code of conduct says you have to know who you are, and that your behavior cannot make testimony about you that is not the truth of who you are. When you have a spiritual code of conduct and when you know who you are, if you ain't a hoe, you don't act like a hoe. If you ain't a deadbeat daddy, you don't act like a deadbeat daddy. If you ain't a gutter snipe, you don't act like a gutter snipe. Come on now. You know who you are from the inside to the outside. And your behavior is a demonstration of what you believe to be true about you. Spiritual code of conduct says know who you are when somebody calls you out your name in your face.
So it's not selfish to put yourself first.
No, it's self-full.
It's self-full.
It's self-full to be first, to be as good as possible to you, to take care of you, to keep you whole and healthy. That doesn't mean that you disregard everything and everyone, but you want to come with your cup full. You know, my cup runneth over.
Yeah.
What comes out of the cup is for y'all. What's in the cup is mine. But I got to keep my cup full. Don't we do that? Don't we take on other people's stuff and make it about us when we don't know that we matter? When you don't know you matter, you will make somebody else's crazy about you. You got your own stuff to handle. You don't have to take on anybody else's. People violate you when you don't have clear boundaries because you don't tell them how to behave in your life. And they run amok. They run amok because you don't have clear boundaries. The real self knows the truth. No matter what mask or what face you wear in the world, your real self knows the truth. And there was a time in my life when I acted like I knew a truth that I didn't know. And the truth I didn't know was the depth of my value and my worth. You see, I had already been an author that had sold over 6 million books, 14 different titles. I had already been on my own television show. I had traveled around the world. I had spoken to hundreds of thousands of people, and still I did not know or value my own worth. So I had a very big opportunity to go forward and to be on what was once called the Oprah Winfrey Show. Yes, and I went on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and Miss Winfrey asked me back again and again and again, and eventually I became part of her Change Your Life faculty. And it was all good. I had written 13 books. I had traveled all over the country. I had done her show repeatedly, but I didn't know my own sense of worth. So what happened? I tried to live in a place that I didn't believe was true for me, and eventually I crashed and burned. Crashed and burned by leaving the Oprah Winfrey show and going on to another network and doing another show that didn't even survive a season, all because I didn't know my worth. Now, it would have looked like all sorts of external circumstances. Oh, there was a miscommunication between me and Miss Winfrey, and the other network was offering me a lot of money, and why shouldn't I take a big business deal? No, It was about me not knowing my own worth. Me not being able to stand in the miracle of being on the Oprah Winfrey Show repeatedly among honored teachers without having to work hard for it, because that was what I had been taught. The matter with me was that I didn't know how to receive a gift, a blessing, without working hard for it. So when things came to me easily, I blew them up. It's self-sabotage or procrastination or forgetting or whatever it is. That opportunity went away because I didn't know my worth. That's the kind of truth we have to tell each other. We have to be aware of it, we have to acknowledge it, and we have to accept it. You don't have to be broke. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to be sad and sorry. You don't have to take care of everybody just because you've always done it. Be willing to do a new thing and a new way. And sometimes you're going to have to piss people off in the process. Sometimes. Because people will hold you to your limitations. They will hold you to what they believe to be true about you. Spiritual code of conduct says, do not believe that because it hasn't happened, it won't happen. Renew, recharge your vision. And do not be tricked into thinking that because it's always happened, it has to continue to happen. Spiritual code of conduct says, do not accept the unacceptable. Do not accommodate and tolerate what doesn't honor you. Close your eyes for me for a moment, and I want you to hear this. I give all meaning to everything I see. Breathe. Okay. I want you to take that thought out of here with you, so that as you go back into your life, that you remember, I give all meaning to everything I see. If I see myself as broken, wounded, damaged, crazy, stupid, whatever, I give meaning to that. So if I want my life to have a new meaning, let me pick thoughts and images that support who I am. When something happens with a partner or a friend, and even a coworker or a supervisor, and you're bringing up all the other times that you've experienced that in the past, that's baggage. When you start your statements about why you do something a certain way or what you're not going to do because of a certain experience, that's baggage. And these are just common everyday things. This isn't even the hard stuff. So I want to give you some unpacking skills for just the common, everyday, normal baggage that we walk around with as human beings. If one person tells you you're a horse, you don't have to believe that. If two people tell you you're a horse, you may want to listen. But by the time 3 people tell you that you're a horse, you need to check yourself, because I bet you got hay hanging out your mouth and your tail is wagging. In other words, if you keep hearing the same thing from different people at different times about you, you need to unpack that baggage. And don't hear it as criticism or make people wrong or bad. Ask them what they mean. I remember when my grandson told me that I was mean. And I had heard that, but I never paid any attention to it because, I'm Iyanla Vanzant. I can't be mean. But when I sat and I listened to him and I realized, wait a minute, he's not the only one saying that to me. I had to hear it and I had to unpack it. So when you hear 1 or 2 or 3 unrelated people telling you the same thing, don't dismiss them. Ask them, tell me more about that, because that may be some baggage that I have to unpack. You have to ask for what you want and don't settle for what's available or what you think you can get. Say it again. They told me say it again. A spiritual code of conduct says that you have to ask for what you want and do not settle for something because it's all you think you can have or because it's what's available. If you want it single, don't settle for it if it's married. Let me take a walk. If you want it easy, don't make it hard. And if you want it hard, then you gotta work with it if it's not. Ask for what you want. And ask for the things that are gonna up-level your wattage in life. Don't settle for things that are gonna dim your light. Up-level your wattage. Sometimes our light be blinding us. Your light is so brilliant, it blinds you. The reflection of it shining back in your eye. And so you get confused and you be holding on to things that do not reflect your own brilliance. Did you hear what I said? That your light, your gift, your talent, your truth can be so brilliant that it blinds you. And you end up reaching out for, holding on to, taking on, taking care of, housing, feeding, clothing, lending money to stuff that only dims your light.
Often we teach, preach, say what we most need to learn. What was it about trust that you needed to learn for yourself?
I grew up thinking that a woman was my mother who was not. I grew up thinking that there was something wrong with me because of God only knows why. My life was a lie.
Well, actually, you explained why so well. In reading about your grandmother, I think she was related to my grandmother. In all the ways that you make children feel inadequate.
Inadequate, bad. I was bad.
Yeah.
I was bad.
Yeah.
I had the devil in me.
Yeah.
I had the devil in me, and she was gonna beat it out of me.
Because she was a woman who, because of the times in which she was raised and the suppression and oppression, had learned that it was best to go through the world keeping quiet.
Keep quiet, be who they want you to be. Had I knuckled down, had I really given in to the restrictions and limitations placed on me, I wouldn't be who I am today. It was my talking that saved me. Here was the classic, shut up, you talk too much. Shut up. Why you talk so much? You've always got something to say. And today people pay me well to hear me speak.
Yeah.
If I had shut up as a child, that may not have ever happened.
So you learned that you needed to learn to trust yourself.
Even when it doesn't feel good, feedback can be a really, really good thing. But first, I want us to make a distinction between feedback and criticism, because I think that's important. Feedback is the energy or the return energy of what's put out. This means that feedback is information about or reactions to our state of being and our performance and our way of being in relationship. Feedback comes to us as a response or a reaction, or sometimes as comments or a review of what we do and how we show up at any given moment. And feedback has a purpose. The purpose of feedback is to provide us with guidance or direction that will serve as the influence for modification or change in our behavior and in our energy. So in other words, feedback is a cue that something we do or say or how we behave needs to change. That's all it is. Now that sounds pretty harmless, but here comes the challenge. Most feedback either feels or sounds critical, which means that it's going to trigger a toxic memory or a feeling, which then motivates us to discount the feedback we're receiving. You know, we can't even hear it. So what is criticism then? If feedback is criticism, what is criticism? Criticism is feedback that demoralizes, condemns, judges, or blames. It's feedback that is consciously or unconsciously offered to manipulate or control. That's the difference. Where feedback is offered to motivate correction or change, criticism is offered to manipulate and control. And in many, many cases, while what people offer as constructive criticism, what they want to give us, it actually criticizes us. And that's what leads to a mental or emotional shutdown, and we can lose the value of what's being offered because criticism is an offering. Now, here's the good news. All criticism is feedback. And here's the bad news. All criticism is feedback. What I mean is this: whether it's positive or negative, productive or unproductive, all feedback is telling you something you need to know about yourself. And what you hear and how you hear it has nothing to do with who's saying it. All feedback is about who you be and how you be, and it's bringing that to your awareness. There's something you need to change, beloved. Whether it is coming at you from your mother or your sister or your boss or your coworker or your partner. Feedback is a source of information for self-improvement, and it can be received and used as the foundation for altering and changing your way of being or a specific course of behavior.
Do you have a morning ritual?
Oh, yes, absolutely. As soon as my eyes open, 23rd Psalm. As soon as my eyes open, I do it. And then I usually go sage my house out, because I don't know what was floating around in there in the night, because, you know, I live out in the bushes like you. Then I make my coffee. I do love my morning coffee. And then I read my Course in Miracles lesson for the day. I read my Jesus Calling. And then I put my Bible to my head and open it, and wherever it opens, that's what I read. And then I go downstairs, and sometimes I get on the treadmill, and sometimes I just dust it off. But I always get on my trampoline and do my 15 minutes there. And then I get on my inversion table and I hang upside down.
Really?
Yeah, because to rush the blood to my head and keep me from getting wrinkled. And then I'm off for my day. When we think we are unworthy, it means that for some reason we believe that we have to prove we have a right to our space on the planet, in life, as we are, being who we are. And that means that we will do all manner of wonderfulness to prove we deserve to be here. And usually, some of the common things are we overcommit, overgive, we overdo, we over-excuse, we overcompensate, and we stay in difficult, desperate, hurtful, harmful situations much longer than it is wise or productive to do so. Worth, what it is that you expect from the world in response to who you are, is very different from value. Self-value means how you hold yourself within yourself and what you expect as a result. Now, In order to get to the worth, if you're not holding yourself within yourself as worthy, then what you expect from the world is surely gonna hurt you.
I recently spoke to a man who was about to abandon his path of spiritual study because he couldn't seem to align himself with the laws of life. In essence, he couldn't make the law work for him. He had done all of the right things and he had said all of the right affirmations. He was praying and meditating and listening. Still, his life was a mess. Surely he thought that I can't be on the right path. And that happens to many of us. We do something for a certain amount of time and we have an expectation that there's a reward, and when we don't get it, we think we've done the right thing. Perhaps he thought he should return to the spiritual tradition of his family. Listening to him, I said, been there, done that. I knew exactly how he was feeling. Suddenly I remembered that in the midst of my own spiritual breakdown, a good friend offered me something that I was excited to share with this pilgrim in distress. We must make our spiritual practice personal. It is of absolutely no use to read the words and study the principles and look at the book as if they're magic formulas that are going to bestow something on you. Every word you receive as guidance on your spiritual path must be received as if it was written specifically for you. Whether it's the Bible or the Torah or the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, you have to know that these words are coming to you at this time for you. Next, you must make all of your spiritual practices and insights practical. You do not need wings and feathers. You need to walk on earth. Be heavenly bound, but be good on earth. You must hear and receive spiritual teachings in a manner that addresses right where you are, just as you are right now. It is so tempting to think that you've got to wait for something in you or around you to be different before you can apply what you're learning and studying. A better way to interpret what you receive when you read or when you study is to put it in the first person, make it an I frame of reference by applying it to something that's going on in your life right now. Next, you must believe that the answer to your prayer is possible, whether you've been praying it for 15 days or weeks or months, or if you prayed it this morning. Because the minute you entertain the thought, just one thought, that everyone's prayer can be answered but yours, the possibility for your prayer to be answered goes right out the window. All things are possible to those who believe. So make your belief and the things you believe in personal and practical, and know that they are possible.
If you really, really love someone, respect them enough to tell them the truth and believe that they can handle it. I know. Sometimes we lie to people because we don't want to hurt them. We lie to them because we're afraid of their reaction. We lie to them because we think that what we've done is so horrible, or what we feel is so disagreeable, or what we want from them we'll never get. But love requires honor, honesty, and truth. And if you tell a lie and get caught, it'll create more hurt, more harm, more upset than if you just told the truth in the first place. So, if you really love somebody and you want to maintain an honorable, honest, authentic relationship, love them enough to tell them the truth and believe that they can handle it. And if they can't, oh well, tell them the truth anyway.
The only thing you gotta do is be happy about who you are and just do you, boo. But how often do we forget that? How often do we forget that who we are just as we are is enough? And we get busy doing and being something else. And then we become unhealthy on all levels, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, because we leave the truth of who we are in search of something else.
In order to take the next step to where you want to be, you've got to be willing to take a stand for yourself, within yourself. Speak up for yourself. Ask for the things that you want. And be willing. Be willing for some people to say no. Everybody's not going to say no. You know, people's job is not to make you happy. I know that would be wonderful if this were Iyanlaville and all of you were Iyanlaites, and I could just be happy, you know? So, but that's not it. So you've got to be willing to do that. Take that next step towards standing up for yourself. So those things that are unconscious and habitual will begin to fade away. You've got to challenge them. It is amazing to me how many people believe that they must respond to anything and everything that seems to be going on. They measure their personal growth and spiritual prowessness by the number of adverse conditions they've been able to live through and with. Some people even consider it a measure of their faith and trust in good in God when they struggle and suffer, waiting for something better to befall them. Can you imagine that people actually believe that if they can live through and forgive the most dastardly deeds of others, that they will somehow be rewarded with a major outpouring of peace and enlightenment? Well, this may be one path, but I want to tell you about a shortcut. Duck! I personally have learned how to duck behind God when the crazy starts flying. There are some experiences I no longer choose to have. I accept that people won't like me, they will not agree with me, and they may not choose to see me as any other way than the way they hold in their mind. That is not my issue. That is a personal issue. You know, maybe we do have karma. You know, things that we have to work out between ourselves and the people that show up in our lives. Well, listen, I reserve the right to choose how I'm going to participate, and I choose to duck. Some people just want to fight. They expect a fight, they look for a fight, and if there's no fight around, they will pick a fight. They want to argue and be upset, and I no longer consider it a necessity to stand with them or for them in the midst of conflama. That's conflict laced with drama. When family and friends know that you have a spiritual outlook, they want to include you in their problem solving. And we train people to come to us by always knowing just what to say and just what to do and just what they should do. Just because we can handle it doesn't mean that we must handle it or that it's in our best interest to do so. Instead, we can choose to duck. Dodge underdeveloped consciousness kindly.
The purpose is to serve. But you don't do that for the women, you do it for you. Okay? Let me just tell you all the truth. You don't serve for the other person. You do it for you. That's your purpose. The fact that they benefit is gravy on the potatoes. But standing in your purpose, that's the potatoes. So you don't do it for them, you do it for you. And that makes you uncomfortable to say, I'm serving for me. Didn't make Jesus uncomfortable. Didn't make Mother Teresa uncomfortable. Didn't make Buddha uncomfortable. Martin Luther King. Didn't make them uncomfortable because they were clear that that's what they were here to do. Now the way you serve may be providing support for women as they empower themselves. The minute you say, my purpose is to, you can't empower nobody. If I left you here for 24 hours with a bag of Lay's potato chips, how powerful would you be over that bag of Lay's potato chips? Because one of them obviously would jump out into your hand, and that hand would make it to your mouth, and you know you can't eat just one. So, what I want you to do, my darling, is get comfortable with serving as your purpose and don't dictate what it looks like. Your vision may be that you'll serve women by supporting them as they empower themselves. That may be your vision, but your purpose is serving. Take your control off it. Let God send you where He wants you to go. Like be women. Because that's not what I want to do, women. Yeah. I suppose that's not what God wants you to do.
If you really want to reach your greatest potential, if you want to see just how far you can go in life, if you've got a dream you've been holding on to in the back of your mind and now you're ready to risk everything for that dream, if you really want your life to move forward, you must be willing to make some people mad. Oh, people will get mad. Whenever you live beyond someone's opinion of you, oh, they're going to get mad. Whenever you begin to think more of yourself than people think of you, oh, they will get mad. Whenever you move into a place of being, in a way of being that other people around you are afraid to try on for themselves, they will get mad. And so what? They get mad. Their madness doesn't have to influence your life. You've got to be willing to live through the difficulty of upsetting people you care about, of people that you really thought were on your side, turning their back on you, and whatever. When you get there, those people that really need to be there will be there, and the others won't really matter.
The players don't stop to pick up trash on the field. That's what we have to learn in taking the next steps in our healing. Don't stop to pick up trash on the field. Let me tell you what trash on the field is. Number one, stop reminding yourself of how badly you did in the past. Trash on the field. Trash on the field. It is not helpful to keep reminding you of how that didn't work unless you're looking at it for the value of the experience. Trash on the field? Yes. Number two, stop reminding yourself of what you haven't done. Just because you haven't done it doesn't mean you won't do it. But you gotta get focused on the end zone. Number three, make sure you know what ball game you playing before you start playing. Okay? Because sometimes we start playing the game and we don't even have a clue. Trash on the field. You'll be picking up trash on the field. You'll be thinking that you got to do certain things, you're obligated to do certain things because you don't really know the rules of the game. There are 3 rules. Tell the truth, be clear, get focused, and stay that way. Taking the next steps.
It really isn't as hard as you're making it. We all have a tendency at times to make things more difficult than they need to be, and that need not be. Here it is. It happened. You didn't like it. It was a violation of your boundaries. It didn't honor who you were. Somebody didn't keep their agreement, or you failed to make an agreement, so there's nothing to hold anyone accountable to. You felt bad about it. They felt bad about it. Now you're left feeling bad, but it doesn't have to be hard. Here's the choice. Let go and move on, or hold on and stay stuck. It's just that simple. It doesn't have to be hard. You get to choose. Let go and move on, or hold on and stay stuck. Had I knuckled down, had I really given in to the restrictions and limitations placed on me, I wouldn't be who I am today. It was my talking that saved me. Here was the classic, shut up, you talk too much. Shut up. Why you talk so much? You've always got something to say. And today people pay me well to hear me speak.
Yeah.
If I had shut up as a child, that may not have ever happened.
So you learned that you needed to learn to trust yourself. And I love when you say in here is that, there isn't a person you can ask in the world at some point where they didn't say, I just find it difficult to trust people.
Right.
But what you say, that's not really the issue.
No.
Learning to trust other people.
No.
The real issue is
trusting yourself. Trusting yourself that you're going to make the right choices. Trusting yourself that you can hear that voice and follow it. Trusting yourself.
That when people betray you, abandon you, don't acknowledge you, you will...
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. And when I go back and look at it, something told me, you say God throws a pebble, then he throws a brick. You got to learn to trust the pebble when you hear it. Very
Lord.
lightly.
Yes.
When you hear it, it's like, that's it. Oh,
it shows up, doesn't
sound like
it?
a pebble.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't pay attention to that. And a faith for me is the inner knowing that dares your soul to go beyond what your eyes can see. So sometimes I will get a hit or a sense or an inkling or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I just know. And then when I'm not sure or when I'm not clear about it, I know enough to trust.
Who we are matters. What we do matters. How we do it matters. And therefore, we have to take responsibility for everything that's going on in our life. I know the crazy people set you up, but it was a divine setup to give you what you needed in order to grow beyond where you were.
And you can see the commonality in that human experience. What is the wound that we're all suffering from?
That we're separate from God. A Course in Miracles says you cannot solve the problem because you do not know what the problem is. The only problem you have is the belief that you're separate from God. Because if you knew who lived within you and walked beside you, you could never be afraid or angry or ashamed or whatever, your wonderfulness of humanness is.
Yes.
So that is it, the belief that we're separate. The belief that it looks like I'm separate from you. You're over there, I'm over here. That, straights are separate from gays, blacks are separate from white. And our belief in that illusion and the physicality makes us think, I can do anything to you.
Yes.
When I'm walking in the supermarket now, I am your sister. I'm a demonstration of who you are, of who my grandmother was. And that's because of our oneness. I see it and I feel it and I live it so that I know every time I show up, I am a demonstration and a representation of past and future generations.
Yes.
So I got to be clear. Worry is really a sign of control. People think they're worry warts, but they're really control freaks. They want it to come the way they want it to come. And when we can't control, we go into worry, which really is how we rehearse the worst thing possibly happening. That's what worry is.
Right.
It's like, that's not going to happen, and then this is going to happen, and I'm have to, so worry, it's really a control freak issue. When I say get over it, I'm giving you a process for reclaiming the power of your mind. That's what I'm giving you. Give every thought over. Observation, validation, examination, and reframe. Give every thought, observation, validation, examination, and reframe. Because too many of us walk around coddling and entertaining and validating wild thoughts, just like Rihanna said. We got wild thoughts.
You know about Rihanna?
I know about Rihanna, Khalid, all of them. They're my youngins. I got to keep my eye on them. Yeah. So, we don't have the control of our minds. That's why it's looking like it's looking. I grew up understanding and recognizing about ancestral study and cultural nuances and stuff. And my grandmother, the same Cherokee, was in the Kojic church.
Wow. Yes.
So we were Kojic all day, and then we was at the moon at night, So it was good and not so good because, what that taught me was really to hide who I am, and that who I am is not really acceptable. We didn't talk about putting plates down for the ancestors and doing all of, or honoring the earth and what we do, full moon ceremonies. But as I grew up and I embraced my matriarchal lineage as a Yoruba, or my patriarchal lineage as in Chisleki, but we really work in the Lakota tradition. And I became a pipe carrier for them and an initiated priest and an ordained minister because the thing that I found is the commonality of universal law. And I live universal law and principle. The law of
Indeed.
cause and effect, whether I'm Jisleki or Lakota or Yoruba or Kojic, the law of cause of effect and effect is going to work. Principles, integrity, responsibility, accountability, compassion, honesty, those principles work. Now, the benefit that I have is that I understand how they're taught from a cultural perspective. You know, whereas the Bible will say, you know, thou shalt not lie, the Yoruba will say, the king does not lie. Or he who knows the truth has a responsibility to speak the truth. And the Lakota would say basically the same thing. If you walk in truth, you live in truth, then you bring the spirit of truth to the planet. It's the same thing. Thou shalt not lie.
Yeah. Universal law.
But I have it from a cultural perspective. So that's really what it is for me. And I think for many people, the thing that's missing is the culture. So I teach it from the universal perspective, but speak to it the way that I've lived it from the cultural perspective.
The enemy is in me.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting the world. I'm fighting that part of me that says, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And there's a part of me that says, come on, we're going to do this. And then the other part says, don't you remember what happened last time? Oh, you're going to do that? You can't do it. It's in me. And there's a part of me.
So that's where the real battle is.
That's where the real battle is. That is where the crux and the core of trust comes in. Those two parts of us. The part of us that would rather stay broke and miserable, complaining, you know, living in the whatever, the mediocrity.
And why? Why? Because we're afraid?
Because we get to control it. We get to control it. I know how to be broke and poor and struggle and suffer and be angry. I know how to do that. You know, I got a degree. But when it comes to being open and vulnerable, because trust, the core ingredient of trust is vulnerability.
Yeah.
That's the core. Being vulnerable, going within, following my intuition, and facing the unknown. I'm not gonna face the unknown, because I can't control the unknown. I can control the familiar. I can control what I know. I'm gonna trust that, even if I'm miserable, I'm gonna trust it, rather than opening myself to a greater, grander possibility that requires me to be vulnerable.
So we'd rather have our own reality show, prostituting our pain and dysfunction for a check, than we would to really take care of our business and, take care of ourselves and heal ourselves and come together and buy a darn network. We'd rather prostitute our pain and show our thong and fight each other and throw liquor across the table, because that's instant gratification.
So one would
that's
say,
what we tune in to.
the ratings say that Atlanta Housewives is #1 housewife show, right?
Yeah,
so we tune in. The Basketball Wives are coming back for a new season because we tune in. We tune in to our own demise. And I always say we give people the bullets to shoot us with.
Yeah.
So how do we stop doing that is the question.
We have to want to, Karen. We have to want to. And it's easier to try to be dysfunctional enough to get your own show than it is to do the work to not be dysfunctional. Because to do the work not to be dysfunctional and to look at yourself, to tell the truth about yourself, to look at where you lie.
Life is as instant as you are. If you make the choice today that you want to be, because you're not doing it for the other person, you're doing it for you.
Yourself, yeah.
Do you want peace? Do you want joy? Do you want to move forward? Or do you want to be stuck in the past? So you get to choose. You don't want to forgive? Don't. I've got to know who I am. The first thing that I have to know is that I am a unique demonstration and representation of the chief architect and creator of the universe. All that God is, I am. I have to know that. I have to know that. Otherwise, I'll continue to believe in separation.
Spiritual code of conduct says, do not stay where you don't want to be because you've convinced yourself that you ain't got nowhere else to go. Don't leave me out here by myself. All y'all on them jobs you hate. On a job you hate. Hate it so much you can't even be grateful that it's feeding you. Hate it so much you can't even be grateful that because of it you got a roof over your head. Somebody talk to me. You hate it so much till you go there every day complaining and you're meaner than a wet damn cat. You're so mad that when you get your paycheck, you waste your money. Somebody talk to me over here. Because I think somebody right up in here might need this message. Don't put your face ugly with me if I'm stepping on your toes now. I'm loving on you, beloved. Yeah. Don't stay where you don't want to be. Do your practice, get your vision, ask for what you want, and be willing to do something new. That's what the spiritual code of conduct say.
I never really aspired to happy because happy is usually determined by external factors. I go for the joy. Because when you have joy at home, when you have joy inside, it don't matter much what's going on out here. You understand? You got your joy. And you can come home to your joy no matter what is going on in the world. Far too many of us have our happiness, our peace, our joy, our value, our worth hooked into some external stimulation. And then we wonder why we're stressed out and overweight and can't sleep. I learned a very powerful lesson last June. I have never been sick a day in my life, not ever. I've never had a cold, and I don't get the flu shot. I do my wheatgrass, I do my prayer, I do my 40 days of fasting, fruit and vegetables, once a year, from the 1st of January to the middle of February. I do my things that my spirit tells me to do. So I went to Jamaica last June to speak, and there I just became deathly ill. I didn't even know I was ill because I had never been ill. I thought I had food poisoning. So I would go and vomit and come back, try to speak to the people and go throw up some more. And then I said, well, the people is waiting. I'm 20 minutes late. Oh, Lord, bring the bucket and put it on the stage. So busy living up to the external. Didn't take time to check with the internal. So I got the bucket on the stage in case I have an accident. Like somebody would really pay to come see that. Do you think about what we think about sometimes? Anyway, so I'm there on the stage, deathly ill. And finally I said to the people, just like I told you all about my lipstick on my shirt, I said, I got to confess something. I'm here telling y'all how to take care of yourself, and I am sick as a dog. I tell you what, I'm going home. I'm going somewhere and lay down. Hopefully this is food poisoning, and if I'm not dead tomorrow, I'll come back.
How did you learn to fix your own life and learn to trust when everybody in your life, particularly in your family, had let you down?
I started paying attention. I started taking copious notes to my own behavior because I had a choice. I could either blame them and be upset with all of them, all of whom were dead.
Pointless.
Or become accountable and responsible. They taught me to do the wrong things, but I voluntarily continued to do it. If I'm continuing to do the things that they taught me, and my spirit is saying, that ain't right. That's not right. You know better.
You know better.
You know better. So I had to start paying close attention to what I was doing based on what I had been taught. We don't have control of our minds. We're hypnotized, anesthetized, and desensitized. So get over it. I want us to start thinking about what we think about consciously, and I give you a process to eliminate the things you're thinking about that you don't want to think about no more.
Give us a little taste.
Like somebody, you still mad because Boo-Boo left you back in 56.
1956?
1956.
That's a long time to hold on to something. Yeah,
but you know how many of us... oh, Lord.
Come on. We got time.
I have to put it in this context, beloved, because I just, I don't want people to think it's shallow. Your great-great-grandmother, that's great-great. I'm a great. But just in my time, a great-great-grandmother didn't get to choose all the time the man she wanted because she was the masses woman. Just a great.
She didn't get to choose who she slept with. She didn't even sometimes get to choose to keep her darn babies. We go to the bar and pick up Boo Boo the fool, bring him home the same night and give him a key and then get upset when he leave. I can't take it. I can't take it. So we got to start thinking different and really understand the sacrifice that we come from, the legacy that we come from. Not feel bad about it, not just be mad about it, but understand where we are. And then, as Dr. Daim Akbar says, elevate the history so that we can use the lessons in our lives today.
Impatience
is another word, is another faith killer. Impatience, you know, it takes 9 months to have a baby, you know, and so it may happen in 8.5 months. It may take 9 months and 2 weeks, but you can't have a baby when you're only 3 months pregnant. You just can't have it. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
So impatience is another trust issue where we're saying, you know, we can't see it, so we don't know what's happening, what's going on. And impatience is the abortionist because impatience will lead you to do things that will abort the dream, abort the vision, abort whatever it is. Because if you cut the womb open while the baby's developing, you're going to abort. So impatience is the abortionist of good things.
Do not act like you know when you don't know. And do not act like you don't know when you do know. Some of y'all know you out of order as hell. And you acting like, moi? Some of you know you don't need to be out there buying another piece of fried nothing in that marketplace. You know right now your sugar high as hell. Sneaking around the little pole trying to eat up that little piece of praline. Put that thing down. Don't act like you don't know when you know. And don't act like you do know when you don't know. You know, one of the beauties for me of Fix My Life is people have become willing to ask for help. We don't know. So many of us just don't know. We don't know how to do this. We don't know how to be successful. When they called me and told me that they wanted my product on HSN, they told me I needed a Dun & Bradstreet number. I almost peed on myself. What the hell? The Dun and Hootie Wah? That's something the white people do. I don't know nothing about that. I read about that in the one Wall Street Journal that I read 15 years ago. But when you are growing and living beyond the places that are familiar, you got to be willing to do stuff that scares you. And that's when you're going to have to rely on your connection to something bigger, greater, and grander than you. Ask for help. Do not be so willing to buy real estate in what is comfortable and familiar in your own mind. As much as I've done and grown and healed, there's still things that I need to learn. And if I need to learn it, we all need to learn it because we're all just one. Don't act like you know when you don't know. Ask for the help that you need. And don't act like you do know that you don't know when you do know, because you're convincing yourself that you can't be trusted. Trust what you know. You knew when you met Boo Boo. You know he was crazy as hell. You saw the crazy right round the edge. And you said, but he cute. Don't excuse crazy. You should have crossed the street. I told you that 23 years ago. When you see crazy coming, cross the street.
Why do we have to learn to trust others?
Because everybody is a representation of God. How can I not trust? See, here's the thing. Human beings are crazy as hell. They live messy lives. But they give you an opportunity to grow something bigger and better in you, even if that something is a no.
Even if
that something is a no.
Even if it's a no.
Yeah, no, you're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to have that. No, you will not treat me like that. You know? So trusting humans is important because they give you an opportunity to grow that something you need, gives them an opportunity to learn.
How have you found a way to align yourself with the seasons of your life instead of acting as if every single day is output, output, output?
Impregnate yourself with the vision and the intention first. I made that mistake. I got all caught up in, I got to do 30 cities, and we got to do the marketing, and we got to do this, and like out on the West Coast, the tickets weren't selling and everything, and I was like in freak out mode, and I thought it was because Phoenix had a lot of white people, they didn't want to come see me, so I was writing a good speech for the white people to come here, as if the white people knew I was writing a speech, and they didn't know. And then, I got convicted in my spirit, and I hadn't sat down, I hadn't created the vision, I hadn't created the intention. I was focused on selling tickets and not delivering the message. So I had to correct myself. So I would say to all young women, whoever you are, because giving life, bringing forth life, whether you have children or not is not the issue. The issue is that we bring forth lives. So before you do anything, sit down and get the vision. Impregnate yourself with the vision. And then impregnate yourself with the intention. I'm not on tour at my age because I need to make money or sell tickets. I'm on tour at my old ass age because and I didn't realize how old I was till I got to city number 3 and I was like, okay, wait a minute.
I'm dying.
Oh my God. In 99, I did 26 cities like this, but that was a while ago.
Yeah.
I'm on tour to speak into people's souls, not through the TV screen. I have a message that I have received from the ancestors and the Holy Spirit, and to speak it into their soul. What I discovered is the reason many of us don't experience the full benefit of forgiveness is because we do it begrudgingly, we do it out of force, and we do it on one level, in the mind. But in order for forgiveness to truly anchor in your body and free up your energy, you've got to forgive the thought, the feeling, the belief, and the action. Got to forgive on all levels. And most of us are just forgiven intellectually.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video, and what is your plan of action for the next week? The science says that when you just watch a video, you get motivated, you get inspired, you have a 35% chance of actually doing something and following through. That, Believe Nation, is not enough. 35% is not enough. We got to do something. But when you get inspired by watching a video like this, and then you create a plan of action, your chances of following through jump to 91%. And when you commit publicly, like putting your comment down below with your plan, it jumps to 95%. That's what I want for you. I want you to take action. Your dreams are too important. Your life matters. Your mission has to happen. So, question of the day, your biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week, put it down in the comments below, and I'm going to celebrate alongside with you.
This is what I know. I know that in the baseball with the little ball, that you have to hit it, and then you run to the bases, right? I know that, right? Isn't that just like life? Sometimes you have to really swing at something with your mind, with your heart, with your words, and then you got to go get it. I like that, right? And I also know about that you don't win when you get to first base. You don't win. You can't have a party and go in, buy the new house and the Jag because you made it to first base, right? You got to get all the way around to all the other bases, and sometime on the way there, you'll meet with a foul, right? It ain't that
people are out to get you, boo. It's just part of the game. But if you want to get to the home run, you got to get all the way around. So don't go spending your money and going into debt just because you got the first base. And life is like that, right?
If you want to see my top 10 on Louise Hay, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The simple part that most people don't understand is that every thought we think and every word we speak is creating our future.
When life calls us